All right. Peace and greetings, YouTubers. So welcome to another edition of In the News. By the way, I do have to say I appreciate you guys for being patient. Like I said in my community tab, I had some end of the year reports that I needed to knock out for my community center. And because 2020 was not a conventional year and COVID-19 came and cleaned house on everybody and everything, the reporting process was a little bit more cumbersome. Lots of number crunching and then digging up old documents from, January of 2020 and files that, were grandfathered in from 2019. And it just takes forever. And you have to be detail oriented and, dot your I's and cross your T's because you don't want to piss off any of those grantors and then lose one of those big 6-figure grants because then folks got to get fired. And so there were like at least 2 nights last week where I was still at my site at 2 a.m. doing numbers and crap. I was like, man, I know I was cussing up a storm. People like, it's some bullshit. I don't even get paid enough for this bullshit. Like, pissed, back hurting because you've been sitting in the same position for too long. But we're done, and I'm here. And so, can we start with Chloe? Let me just say this, by the way. The way that Chloe was trending, I'm over here thinking that Chloe has done the worst of the worst. I'm thinking she done stabbed somebody. I'm thinking she done stepped on a puppy's head or was leading the All Lives Matter train or doing some human trafficking, something wild and crazy. So when I finally clicked the hashtag and saw what was the big hoopla about, I was like, wait, I had to make sure I was looking at the right clips and stuff. I'm like, what's the problem? I was like, okay, so what? She showed a little piece of thigh and shook some hip like everybody else. Is this what we're mad at? This is the energy we have for today. Okay, interesting. And the funniest part, some of her biggest critics on social media were also the same people that had just participated in the silhouette challenge like 12 hours earlier. So I was like, wait a minute, how does that work? And then what was funny, some of the ones doing that challenge, they didn't even have the red light to participate, but they were so pressed to be a part. They were using a reflection from the light that sits above the oven on the stove, just to participate. So I'm like, wait a minute. So where is the consistency? Either you're going to be mad all the time or just be quiet. You can't be selectively mad at certain things. And so really, to me, I think it's a conversation about agency again. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, long story short, Chloe from the duo Chloe and Holly, the two sisters that have these beautiful voices, she has been pretty much just, I'll say, celebrating herself, coming into her own as a woman, embracing who she is and expressing that and sharing that with people who are interested in what it is that she has. And so a lot of people felt some kind of way and thought that she had crossed the line and now she's a harlot and, no man is going to want to marry her. And, everybody, all these different dissertations and speaking points people have when they want to jump into some foolery. And so they have fried this poor girl up for like 4 days to the point where she's had to get on social media and explain herself and she on there crying and everything. I was like, goodness, folks are miserable. Just miserable. Joy killers. My goodness, let the girl have her moment. Is it really that deep? But again, I think it is a conversation about agency. And I think a lot of times black women in entertainment, their agency is policed. And when I'm talking about agency, I'm talking about just the right to pretty much do what they want with themselves. You know what I mean? If Chloe is not for you, she's not for you. But to go on social media and bombard the woman because you're mad that she did exactly what everybody else is already doing. You know what I mean? And honestly, what I saw is not even anything that's just so, over the top. I think another conversation is because she's already just built differently or she's well endowed as far as how she's built, everything already seems more exaggerated. So people are really painting it out here like she's just out here committing all kind of atrocious acts. I'm like, some of y'all need to relax because can we be honest? Some of you need to go back and look at the pictures of your parents from when they were 20, okay? That'll really bring out the truth and how far you want to jump into the respectability conversations because some of y'all parents were just as wild. I told y'all, I'll tell you how my parents met. My father met my mom at the club, all right? Dancing to Morris Day in the Time Oak Tree. He couldn't resist. He saw her from the balcony, made his way down to shoot his shot. My mom was out there being a hot girl, had her little hot girl boots on, hot girl shorts and everything. She was wearing them thigh-high boots before Mary J was doing it. And so, yeah, my mom used to live it up like everybody else. And so, it's kind of like let people have their moment. And so going back to the agency conversation, it's interesting because I think in entertainment, black women get this short window to have that moment as far as celebrating themselves, celebrating their image, celebrating themselves sexually. There's this short window that starts as soon as they're, a young adult. And by the time they're 28, 29, that window has already closed because people start trying to close them off and say, okay, they're too old now. Or, she need to sit down and have some kids or whatever. Folks start hating. She thinks she's cute. She thinks she's cute. And, so then, you need to sit down and have some kids. And as she gets older, then it's okay, now she's too old to do that. She ought to be ashamed. And so, it's like you're constantly policed the entire time. Because even when they come into that young adulthood, people really are not big fans sometimes because they're like, she used to be such a wholesome young lady. Now look at her. Because I think even one of the tweets I saw, somebody was like, that whole good girl going bad image thing that Janet Jackson started is so tired, Chloe, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, what y'all bring Janet in it for? Because not to be rude or nothing, but like when Janet went on like 2 or 3 tours ago when she had on them Aladdin costumes and she was actually covered up, y'all was frying the woman up. I like the Aladdin costumes. They was all right. I just wish the pants weren't as loose so you could see her legs moving the choreography. But yeah, y'all fried Janet up and everything, you know, because folks kept saying, oh, she too old. She need to cover up. She ought to be ashamed. She covered up. Then, I don't know why she wearing that. She ought to be ashamed. I'm like, y'all move the goalposts every time. So then, you know, Janet go back out on the road and, you know, she done slimmed down, got a, you know, body, then recovered after having a baby and everything. And, you know, she got on some fancier clothes. She ought to be ashamed. She knows she is too old. I'm like, y'all just miserable. Y'all don't want to let folks have no fun. Like, my God, I'm going to tell y'all this right now. If my body ever gets to where I really want it to be, I'm going to tell you now, I'm never going to have a shirt on. My shirt will be off at all times from March to September until it gets cold. I'm never going to have a shirt on. I'm gonna be right here on YouTube. Peace and greetings, YouTubers. All right, nipple all out, everything. You just about to be killing it. I'm just telling you now. Don't be killing my confidence. But that's crazy, and it's just, I don't know. Folks are kind of wishy-washy because for all the smoke they had with Chloe Bailey, it's like my thing is either have that energy across the board or shut up. People, what I keep seeing are like being, you know, they're picking and choosing when they want to be outraged, selective outrage. And so I'm just like, some of y'all are just really just haters. I'm sorry, it is what it is. Like I said, if what she's doing is not for you, you know, so be it. I can't get mad at you for having your opinion, but when it gets to the point where you go and harass the girl and you're writing think pieces about imaging and so on and so forth, it's just like, oh, okay. I do think there are conversations about the imaging and the objectification of black women in entertainment, but what Chloe was doing, I didn't even see it in that realm at all. Maybe that's my man lens kicking in, but, you know, folks doing the most. And then the funniest thing, you know, it's just like, I don't know, there's like this whole brigade of people on social media that I just call them like the miserable squad. Like, it doesn't matter what happened, they're going to find something to be mad about and fry everybody up about it. Like, I saw some other tweet, this guy had made some tweet, it was like semi-viral, but it's some whole thing where he's just frying up single mothers and how they need to stop being so proud of their achievements and, you know, some foolery. But like, when I looked at the tweet and I looked at the time that he made the tweet, it was like 9:26 in the morning. I'm like, you woke up ready for violence. You woke up ready for war. You just woke up and that was the first thing on your mind. You know, you said, never mind figuring out what I'm going to eat. Never mind, you know, getting that glass of water because you've been parched all night. You know, F that. I got some things I need to get off my chest. Let me tell you women something and what y'all need to stop. Figure out y'all energy, please. Some of y'all got too much going on and really you have nothing going on, but you got too much going on at the same time. Figure it out. All right? Anyway, moving on. Also, for those of you in the DMV, and honestly, this may be open to people outside of the DMV this time because it's virtual. I'm not 100% sure, but for those of you who do not live in DC, Maryland, or Virginia, this may be open to you this time, but it's time for the annual Alfred Street Baptist Church College Fair. Now, this is one of the largest HBCU college fairs in the country, you know, and I've watched it get bigger and bigger and bigger each year. I remember when it was still at T.C. Williams High School, and, you know, then they shifted over to the Gaylord Hotel over at National Harbor. This year, it's virtual, but it's going to be on February 20th. The registration is now open, and like I said, it's a great opportunity for those of you who have teenagers who are still trying to figure it out. And also, don't just wait until your teenager is a senior to start thinking of college. Like, if they're in 8th or 9th grade, this is the perfect time to just introduce them to the concept and the idea of what it is that they may want to do as they get older. This is the perfect time to kind of introduce them to what it is that they may be interested in. And again, with this college fair, they have on-site admission. They have scholarships that they give away for those of you who have children that would want to be in a marching band or anything like that. They have auditions as well. Honestly, some of the teenagers that I work with, they're at HBCUs right now because they went to this college fair. I got kids over at Fisk. I got kids at Norfolk State. I got kids at Bethune-Cookman. And so, again, this is a great opportunity. I always gas this one up. And so, again, I will have the link in the description, but definitely check it out. It is a great opportunity. And like I said, pretty much every HBCU is represented. And of course, I celebrate all HBCUs. And so definitely support them. Check that out. And I think registration is like $5, I think. But again, I think you're definitely getting your money's worth. And so normally when, you know, pre-COVID, they normally had over 50,000 people that would come to this event, and they'd give over, I think, I want to say, I forgot how many scholarships they give out, but they give out a lot. So it's a great opportunity. And in addition to just school, there's career advice and a bunch of other things that they also have. So definitely check it out. A few other announcements. One of my subscribers, Toure, also came out with a new single entitled All Good. I always support Toure because he has always supported me. He has been here from before I think I even had 1,000 subscribers. So definitely check out his single. I'll have the link in the description as well. The single is called All Good. You know, support people who are really passionate about music and really just want to put something out there that the people can connect with. And again, Toure's always been good people, so definitely support him. As well as Cris V, who just dropped another music video for the song No Such Thing. If you remember, I mentioned him a few months back about his project that had just come out, and I had said that was my favorite song on the project, and boom, now there's a video for it. So definitely check out Cris V's project as well. This has nothing to do with any kind of news, but for some reason this just makes me laugh so much. But I do want to say, if you have a weak stomach for seeing too many of the same kind of species of critters all together, pause this video, go to the description, and jump to the next story. And so I just want to say, I don't know if you've seen this clip. It's so funny to me. I don't know why it's hilarious, but there is this clip of this kid who somehow has captured the queen bee from a whole colony and has the queen bee in his hand, and then the rest of the colony and the whole hive is on his arm, and he's just walking around unfazed, like life is just good. And for some reason, when I saw that, I died, because you know, kids sometimes don't even realize the danger there, and they just keep it moving. But I fell out dying because I was just thinking, like, man, if I was his age, do you know how many kids at the playground I would be punking if I had that kind of power? Like, man, nobody would be bothering me at the playground. What did you say? What? Just raise that arm. What? You said what? Yeah, I thought so. Exactly. Like, man, it was... I don't know. Kids are so funny. I mean, goodness. The boldness. He reminds me of... I had a cousin who was just like him. Always doing something. Always. I remember one time he found a bat. Like, not a baseball bat, but an actual bat that flies. And this was in Richmond, California. He had this bat, and it was just in a bucket. We're like, what are you doing? And the bat was still alive. We're like, where did you get a bat from? And it was like 2 in the afternoon. We're like, okay. And I mean, I was like, I think y'all need to go wash your hands. Just go wash your hands. So that is hilarious to me. But I don't know. I love to see, like, kids and stuff just have that free will to just do whatever. Like, it's crazy because I think as we get older, we become so aware of, like, our own mortality and dangers and stuff, so we start to become afraid of everything. But it's interesting because kids ain't ever scared of nothing half the time. So he kind of reminds me of myself as a kid. Maybe not with bees, but because I wouldn't have done that, because even one of my friends was laughing, like, okay, they were having flashbacks to the movie My Girl too, when the boy died from the whole beehive. But I was definitely one of them kids that always had some kind of animal trapped. I used to have this shoebox. It was like a Fila shoebox. And I remember I used to capture so much stuff in that shoebox. I used to have lizards. Like when I lived in Italy, I used to always stay catching the lizards and put them in the box. I caught a few birds before. I always had a frog. I had a snake that I found. My mom made me throw that thing back outside. She said, nope, absolutely not. What else have I had? What am I skipping? All kind of stuff. Anything you could find. If I could find a way to capture it, I was going to keep it. And so I was like, spiders. I had jars full. Spiders with a whole habitat. I done, popped all the leaves off the trees and built them a whole little habitat inside the jar. And I think I told this on the podcast, but one time I had like the spider in a jar, and I didn't know it had laid eggs. And this was at the classroom. Like my 4th grade teacher, Miss Linden, let me keep the jar in the class because we were reading Charlotte's Web. And so when we went on Christmas break and came back, all the eggs had hatched. And because I cut them holes in the top of the jar, all the little spiders had just kind of crawled out. And so the classroom had these little tiny little spiders everywhere. Like, not like every 2 inches, but every time you flip open a book or something, there'd be one on the corner, or you go to the pencil sharpener, there'd be one dangling down. And so it was a mess. But that kid just reminds me of just the free spirit that children have. I feel like we have to try to not take that away from kids sometimes. But maybe not snatching up a whole queen bee. But, that is so funny to me. I don't know why I kept laughing, but I saw that and I just died. Because I'm telling you, the way I would punk some kids at the park if I was his age with that. Just anyway, back to some stories. And someone please go and tell Daniel Cameron that I said he can keep that Happy Black History Month video he tried to release. Don't try to latch onto no symbolism now to try to rebuild your image after all that foolery you did in relation to the Breonna Taylor case. You did all that work to try to sabotage that case so you could protect that police department, where, in reality, if the tables were turned, they would have threw you under the bus for very obvious reasons. But, of course, you wanted that proximity to power, and so you decided to play into that foolery. So, no, that encampment that you built for yourself, go ahead and stay in it. Keep that energy across the board. Everybody always try to switch up. Every time they get caught up in something, and when it's time for damage control, then they want to come back to black folks collectively and black power this, and we are one. Power to the people. Keep all of that, all right? That's like, what's Lion King? Remember when Simba knocked Scar off the cliff and Scar fell into that pit with the hyenas. And mind you, he had talked all that trash about the hyenas, and they were hungry too. They hadn't eaten in like 2 weeks because there was no food left in Pride Rock. And then he told all the lions when Simba was about to, throw hands, oh, it was the hyenas' fault. They did everything. Then he gonna fall in the cliff talking about friends. No. Keep that same energy. You saw what happened to him, all right? Or will they turn their backs on y'all? Remember that song? What was that, TLC? What about your friends? Folks be flaky. Anyway, and it's almost like the same energy for the Chad Wheeler guy. I meant to talk about him last week, but I didn't get a chance to do a video. But if you remember, he is the Seahawk who beat his girlfriend so bad she almost literally died. And so the justification that they've been trying to put out there is, well, okay, he's having mental health issues and, he suffers from bipolar disorder. And here's my energy with that. Because one thing I keep seeing people do, whenever somebody does something so out of pocket, they automatically latch it on to, okay, they got mental health issues, so on and so forth. And for me, I think that's something that isn't fair to people who also suffer from mental health issues, because it puts them in a box where they only operate in extremities. And that's a very unfair box to be in. And so in his case, as I was reading all the details, he purposely chose to stop taking his meds a few days before he had that moment. And again, I'm not the biggest person that likes to celebrate the idea of meds, because a lot of times they get it wrong, especially with black folks. They just be giving us anything sometimes. But for this man, I'm sorry, this is a wealthy white man. Like, I know that he got the best of the best service from that hospital. But even then, if the meds that he was taking was something that he just didn't feel right or something didn't feel aligned, he had an opportunity to go back to, his physician and get something else, or, let's try a different option. What other methods can we use? He didn't do any of that. And so for me, he knew in the back of his mind that if he is not on these meds, that there is a possibility that he may do the absolute most. And I'm sure that if this woman decides to sue, a judge is going to say that, yes, in his case, it was foreseeable that something like this could happen if he wasn't on his meds. So while he was still in his right state of mind, he made a conscious choice to not take his meds. And he knew that there's a possibility that he may do something that is out of his nature in regards to that. Plus the fact that, there's that conversation of NFL players and that CTE, and they always ramming their heads into each other and everything. And so, bunch of conversations around that. But again, what we're not going to do is try to paint this out as him being the victim when he made a conscious choice to pretty much step outside of what would have been, I guess, deemed safe in his response or in his matriculation through life, knowing that without those meds, he's going to be a different kind of person. So no, I'm sorry, keep it. I have no real empathy for that, because I'm like, you made a conscious choice on what you were doing. It would be different if he was still on the meds and then it still happened. Then I'm like, okay, we can maybe I'm still going to look at it sideways, because I'm just like, that don't add up, because he's not the only person on the planet with bipolar disorder. You know what I mean? And I understand that bipolar disorder has a lot of serious layers, and there's not a one size fits all. But no, I need the media to stop trying to paint him out to be, do him the same way y'all did Michael Vick and everybody else. Give him that same energy. And like I said before, with these athletes, when they start beating on their wives and girlfriends, like I said before, you want to be big and bad, make them go play football without a helmet, since they so strong. Go on out there and go ahead and run some plays. Go ahead. And he's a lineman too, so he really going to be bashing his head into somebody. That's all I'm saying. And hopefully she's able to pull through from that, because those pictures were horrific. That's some scary stuff there. And so again, I think in the conversations around mental health, I think we have to get out of the habit of putting like a one size fits all blanket and assuming that anybody who has any kind of mental, impairments, automatically they operate in extremities, and, automatically they're going to be violent and cut you into pieces and everything. No, some of that is just him being himself, to be honest. Because even when you look at the details, and it's like he went and ate afterwards. Had a whole meal. I think he took a shower too. Then came back and saw her still on the floor. Oh, you still alive? Foolery. And then the Rochester Police Department. The craziest thing is that at least once every other month when I check my news feed, they're in the news feed for something out of pocket or something crazy. I don't know if they're trying to take the title for just being one of the most just unorganized and crazy police departments we have or what. I don't know if it's something about the air further up north. I don't know. But clearly, they got something going on with that department. And in this moment, what's been circulating is this viral video that's pretty much hit social media and hit the news. And it's of the police pepper spraying a 9-year-old girl. 9-year-old black girl. And so the story that's been put out in the media is that the police were called for some kind of family disturbance, and they were trying to detain the girl, and they had her cuffed, and they had her in the car, but she just was not complying, and somehow she ends up getting sprayed. In the video, you see her pretty much having a hard time. Because of course, it's traumatizing when you're getting handcuffed and you're 8 or 9 years old, and you don't really understand what's happening, and really the only perception you have of the police is not good, because every single time you turn on the TV, they shooting somebody. So of course, a 9-year-old girl is gonna have a moment. But there's a moment where they're trying to get her to put her legs in the car and everything, and it's hard to get her to calm down because she's hysterical. And she even says like, please, you said you're gonna pepper spray me, please don't, and she still get pepper sprayed. And then there's another part in the clip where the officer's like, I need you to calm down, you're acting like a child. And she's like, I am a child. And so it's the wildest thing. And so their justification, or what they're trying to put out there, is that she was just so difficult and such a threat to people around her, and she was kicking the police officers. And I'm like, okay, so that means you go ahead and you bring out the pepper spray. You do the 9-year-old like the fully grown adult. And I mean, honestly, that might be the easy way out, because normally they just like to shoot. But still, piecing this all together, I don't care what the girl had done. When you piece it all together, again, 9 years old. 9 is still young enough to sit on Santa's lap and say you want a Bratz doll for Christmas. You know what I mean? 9 is still young enough for a Happy Meal. You might have to get them an extra thing on the side. They might still be a little hungry. They might need some food. But 9 years old. I was like, what is that, 3rd grade? I swear. And you can't even sit here and try to lie and act like, because honestly, real talk, I don't even think they use pepper spray for half the people at the Capitol who was tearing up stuff. And so you got that kind of smoke for a 9-year-old. And there's really no justification. I'm sorry. It just, again, in a moment like that, and I'm not a police officer, but as somebody who works with kids, anybody can tell you that when a child is having that moment or having a tantrum, the last thing you need to do is escalate it more by making it more chaotic. And what those officers did was they made it even more chaotic. You got like 3-4 cops all over there hollering and hooting and, trying to pin the girl down, a cuff on this side, another cop's on the other side of the door, and the cops on this. Chaos. Like, again, I've always learned that with kids, especially in that age, like I always say kids from about 10 and down, and when and I'm talking school age, especially maybe about 5.5 to 10, that is a very highly emotional group when things don't go their way. Like when they shut down, their emotion is just on a level of high, and it's hard to bring them back to, I need you to come back to earth for a moment. They are in that pocket, they're in that moment. And the thing that I've learned is you honestly just give them their moment to have, and they will come to their senses. But you can't expect somebody who's like, 1, terrified because you got police. 2, they're talking about you taking the girl to jail. She's asking for her parents. Nothing is aligned in any of this. It's all chaotic. And then you're frustrated because she's not complying. She's not processing information the same way you expect her to because, 1, she's a child. Her brain has not developed that way. She may be built and look older than she really is, but that's still a child. And so again, like, especially with temper tantrums, really the thing is just you learn that, okay, with children, give them a minute. And as somebody, like I said, who works with kids, I have been through every temper tantrum you can think of. The temper tantrum when the kid could be the snack helper. And you just like, and they just holler and roll on the floor, and you're just like, how much more time? What time do I get off? The kid who didn't have the permission slip for the field trip, so they can't go to the zoo. You just, the kid who, I don't know, the kids were playing dodgeball, and that kid's team lost. And the only reason they lost is because they were the last one standing, but they just didn't make it. And now they felt that they failed the team. And, you just... Okay, and long story short, I just learned. I'm like, okay, them the kids I work with already know. Here, I'm gonna let you have your moment. You go ahead and roll on the floor for a few minutes, and let me know when you're ready. Because I'm not about to force you to come back to earth. You're gonna have to do that on your own. I can't force it out of you. So you go ahead. I'm right here. I'm not gonna let nobody bother you or step on you while you're laying on the floor. Everybody just step over them. Just step over. Keep moving. Don't stare, because that's gonna make it worse. Keep moving. Y'all go in the computer lab, and boom. But like, the fact that it's just, you keep seeing these foolish excuses, and even the people up top are saying, okay, this is unacceptable. And I'm like, clearly it's unacceptable, but the environment that you all have created within that department allows something like that to happen. Like that is just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. You mean to tell me you can't manage a 9-year-old? But then we expect you to be, in a capacity to be reasonable while you carry a gun and patrol everybody else. Okay, foolery. We'll see what happens with that one. I mean, and really, that's not even anything isolated. You see clips like that happen all the time. I just saw that other clip with that girl at the school, and I think the school resource officer slammed the girl, and she hit her head on the concrete and went unconscious for a few minutes, and now she got memory loss. Like, something about these police, I'm like, especially when it's with girls, that's what I find interesting. They be slamming and tossing these poor girls all around. Like, I don't know if it's an inferiority complex or what, but goodness. They just do a flush. The same way they need to flush half the people out of Congress, flush half some of these people out these police departments. Just start over. Do something. Just restructure all of it, because clearly something ain't right. It ain't right. 9 years old. 9. Anyway, moving on. And then some of you were asking me, did I see the Wendy Williams movie or the Salt and Pepper movie? I did, but I'll talk about it on the next live, just because I didn't want to spend too much time only talking entertainment on this, because I did have one more entertainment story, which was about the Weeknd. And so what I read, it was saying that he spent about $7 million on this performance for the halftime show. I don't know what it is that you need to do for $7 million, but I guess we'll find out. The Weeknd, I guess, I'll honestly say he's grown on me in his last album era. He wasn't somebody that was really my go-to, just because I like a lot of high energy music. He's kind of more on the opposite end of that spectrum. But I did appreciate that this current album he has, he's giving you a full era. I'll say Chloe and Holly have done that too, especially in this whole pandemic. I feel like he's giving you a full album era where every music video kind of has a theme, and then not only does he have a theme for the video, but he carries it even when he makes appearances, and just the whole conversation about the consequences of drinking and driving, and even the recent project we saw where now, you know, it looks like he had the plastic surgery and everything is like a story. So I was like, okay, that's pretty dope. So we'll see what he does. I didn't plan on watching the Super Bowl, but I'll definitely catch the recap of the performance at some point in time. Y'all know me and the NFL are still beefing, so but yeah, so that will be interesting. The other thing people were asking me was about the whole situation with Wall Street. And if you know, I'm late to the party again because I didn't get to do my video last week. But, you know, it was interesting when you saw what happened with the whole situation with Reddit, and then everybody going and supporting GameStop and AMC, and you watched all of these hedge fund managers and billionaires start losing money out the behind. And what I found funny was that, you know, it got to the point where folks got so shook, they just stopped the option to even buy certain stocks. I'm like, you know what I mean? This is what we're talking about when I say people play in our faces. You know what I mean? They will sit here and push the whole narrative of you just got to work hard and so on and so forth. And then you're literally watching them rig the system in your face. The regular, average, everyday person figured out how to play into that game, and they kicked them out the game. You know what I mean? I absolutely not. Nope. Can't do it. You saw Robinhood literally stopped the options for buying certain stocks. I don't think they did it on Cash App, but I'm just like, absolutely crazy. And for me, you can't try to make me feel bad for billionaires who lost money, because in my opinion, I just remember watching and seeing pictures. Remember when Occupy Wall Street was a thing? And I just remember seeing pictures of, you know, Walmart. They just as trash too. Walmart can catch it too. They can catch some smoke as well. But Wall Street, you know, watching Wall Street execs and all these millionaires and billionaires standing on balconies with champagne glasses and pointing and laughing and looking down at the people who were in the tents complaining about what was wrong within the system. And so, listen, there's some things there's certain visuals I don't forget. And so I'm like, you know what? You know, what you get is what you get. Again, Wall Street, it's all a gamble anyway. So you decided to gamble on the failure of a bunch of different businesses, and people decided to rally behind them and just give them at least one breath of life for at least a few more weeks. And so now you've lost money. That's on you. What you want me to do about it? And so, no, I'm not about to sit here and try to feel bad. And I watched all these people go on the news outlets and, no, y'all need to understand that we need to come together and work. It's always the people who are super, super rich always talking about unity and come together while they still participate in foolery. That's why I'm not buying into this whole unity nonsense that a lot of people that are coming out of the GOP are seeing. After I've watched so many politicians, and it's coming from, you know, both parties, but really the GOP is catching smoke for me right now because, again, I've watched them endorse so much foolery over the last 4 years. And now that y'all done lost power in the House and the Senate and you done lost the presidency, now you want to talk unity. But even right now, when I'm looking at the policy that some of these people are putting out there or trying to endorse or trying to push, it's still oppressive. It's still stripping away rights from people. It's still cutting funding from education. It's still cutting funding from healthcare. It's still cutting and pretty much just ending any opportunity for people collectively. Because again, a lot of these people in Congress are only there to maintain the status quo. That's why even when people are saying, oh, do you think the Senate is going to impeach Trump? I don't think they're going to impeach Trump. You need at least 17 senators from the GOP to shift over and vote to convict the former president on top of, you know, everybody on the Democrat side. No, watch these people play in your face. Watch them start playing in your faces. Like I said, I really rock with maybe like 4% of those in Congress. Everybody else, they playing games. They playing in our faces. When you look at who's actually putting out policy and introducing legislation that is actually for the people, it is a small percentage. The rest of them, like I said, are there to carry and maintain the status quo. They've gotten rich. They've gotten wealthy. They played on the vulnerabilities of the people. A lot of them have played on the stupidity of people. And when you look at somebody like a Ted Cruz, or even Lindsey Graham, like to see the 180 that both of them have done politically once you know who got into office, I'm just like, you know, see, y'all playing games. Y'all playing games. all kind of games, just silly games. And so I don't buy into the whole unity crap, because a lot of them that are saying and pushing for let's come into unity, their definition of unity is please allow us to continue the foolery we've already been doing for the last 12 years. We want to continue to stir up things. We want to continue to stop any kind of progress. We want to continue to say no to anything that benefits the people. We want to continue to say no to everything. We want to continue to endorse white nationalists and white supremacists and racist people in power. We want to continue to oppress black and brown populations. We want to continue to, to practice different discriminatory practices when it comes to housing, healthcare, food, education, jobs, resources, climate change, all of that. We want to continue our foolery, but we want to be able to do it without you bothering us. That's their definition of unity. And so they can keep that unity. I'm good. After what we saw in the last few weeks, and there's a really good documentary that was on PBS the other day. It was a Frontline episode. Thank you, Albert Old School. I think that's who sent it to me. And it just kind of talks about what we saw happen in the last 5 years, when you just saw like the worst in people come out, all in the name of what is politics. Really, it's in the name of whiteness. But how you saw so many people just really get loony and just anything, all in the name of a candidate and one individual, not even in the name of the United States or in the name of even their party they support, but really just Trump. That's why I still found the whole Capitol uprising thing so interesting. I'm like, people literally died for this man. You died for a politician? I don't care what your politics are. No politician is worth taking a bullet for. Not in this country, because most of them have signed on to something that indirectly would oppress you anyway. And a lot of them, like I said, have gotten rich on the backs of oppressing other people. A lot of these folks are not doing any actual real work. They're just there. They've been there for decades. Foolery on top of foolery. But I'm like, some of y'all were willing to die for this man? Who, again, I don't care what you think about the president, but in my opinion, he didn't do anything for anybody. He was in it for himself. He built everything for himself. It was the hell with everybody else. If you didn't support him, you really weren't getting any help. You watched disaster relief, get postponed because he didn't like the state that whatever happened in. Oh, California is a Democrat state and they got these wildfires. Let them figure it out on their own. You watch how he responded with Puerto Rico. And I'm like, y'all are still aligning behind this foolery? Please. And again, this is not an endorsement of any other candidate, but like I said, these folks be playing in your faces all the time. And so the fact that people would align behind them, and then even look at the people that are coming into office now. Now this dang Marjorie Greene lady, y'all are giving her so much. Y'all are giving her so much. Like the fact that Cori Bush had to switch offices just because Marjorie walked up on her. I'm like, see, they playing in your faces, because don't be fooled. If Cori Bush wanted to, I know she could stump her out, but she was trying to remind herself that, okay, I just got into this position. I'm trying to take care of my district, so I'm going to have to just let this slide. But look, these people playing in y'all faces. Don't be fooled. Cori Bush got a whole chest tattoo. She's about that life. I'm sure she is. Marjorie Greene, I know she can't fight. But again, it's like what we said about the Lauren Boebert lady. They walk around and they want to carry guns all day because they think they're superheroes. But, they won't have that same energy in the elevator with a black guy. They get all nervous then real quick. But I don't know. This is all a joke. It's such a joke. A lot of it. I have no hope for most of the people who are elected into office. I just watch them play the game. And I just try to, build my best life around whatever foolery is in existence. It's just like, this is a joke. So no, I don't think they're going to impeach Trump. If they impeach Trump, I will be shocked. Because at this point, there's too many people on that GOP side that are up for re-election, and they don't want to piss off that Trump base. They don't want any kind of ties to say that I was against Trump. That's why somebody like a Ted Cruz is still holding on to the idea that the election was rigged. Because again, and mind you, he's not even up for re-election for another 4 years, but they want to just be on that side of history. So when it comes time to campaign, they can say, "Oh, I stood behind your favorite guy. I was the one." Ted Cruz always latches on to everything. It's kind of like I think we talked about it when there was the woman. I forgot what state, but remember there was like the gay couples that she wouldn't allow to get married because of her religious views, and then they arrested her, and so they turned this into this whole Christianity versus the rest of the world, and there's an attack on Christianity thing, and Ted Cruz was the main one leading the charge, and then when they let her out of jail on bond or something, they almost had a church service, and he's out there. They're playing games in your faces. The games, man, and there's no prizes with these games. You just got to sit and watch. Foolery. I swear, sometimes I'm like, maybe I get into politics, but no, I don't want any parts of that foolery. But God, we'll see what happens. Also, we've had some sad passings in the past few weeks. I'm gonna wrap up, but yes, we've had Hank Aaron pass on. We've also had Cicely Tyson, and I just saw that Screech from Saved by the Bell just passed away. Unfortunately, I saw that he was sick, so it's always sad to see people go. But I'll definitely say with Cicely Tyson and Hank Aaron, they lived very long lives, and I think that's the way I would want to go out. You've been able to live such a long life, and you were appreciated for multiple generations. And not only that, on your way out, like, you were still able-bodied, you were still able to do everything, you were still in your right mind, you were loved. Cicely Tyson had just come out with her memoir. Like, you sealed your legacy on the way out. That is a nice way to go. So I wasn't even sad when they passed on. It was more like a thank you for your service. We appreciate you. We will carry the legacy. So, condolences to the families and the friends of all those affected. But those are two great staples that, their legacy is sealed. They've contributed so much. It's crazy because I used to think Kimberly Elise was Cicely Tyson's daughter for the longest. I swear they look so much alike. But it is what it is. That's life. And that's why, for the moments that you were on this planet, you do the best you can and make the impact that you can. And then, in comes the next generation. That's just the way the world works. When you think about it, and you think about how long humans have been on this earth, and think of how many generations, think of how many Cicely Tysons we don't know about that would have been here hundreds or thousands of years ago. Maybe not in the realms of entertainment or acting, but just people that had some kind of impact. When you think of all the people who have come and gone and all the ancestors, it's like, wow, the earth really does just kind of work in this interesting cycle. And so, that's life. But anyway, we will catch up. Again, I appreciate y'all for being patient while I was gone, but I'm here. And so, yeah, share your 2 cents. I'm out. Subscribe.
Child had told him pictures, pulling the boat in his pickup truck, heading to California highways. Summers I never get enough. I admit, took it all for granted. I admit, thought it never end. But oh, sometimes life makes changes as a new chapter just begins. Time I can't replace, I'm hoping into space, 'cause I miss you. Everyone's okay, I sometimes have my days, 'cause I miss you.